Hi there, welcome to Ripple Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. If you're new to my sessions, here are the 3 key takeaways you can expect from the session. And let's start with the weekly chart of Ripple. So over the past 4 weeks, this week has just started, so I'm talking about 4 weeks. The price has been trading around the green key level. The bulls and bears has been fighting around that battlefield, and this week, as of this moment, just 18 hours into this week's candlestick, the price of Ripple reclined to above the green key level of 2.45. However, if we look at the 2 blocks of candles, meaning the one that we have over here, okay, and the one we have over here, they look kind of similar. First, we've got this starting at a lower point, the lower half between the 2 key levels, all right, and then one up just to close below, the top, the key level above, similar. Then the next week, challenge that key level, but closes below that key level, and then 2 weeks after, trying to stay above the key level underneath. That's what's happening right now. So kind of repeating what is going on in September. When we get to the daily chart, we see more details as to how close the pattern is. So in terms of Wyckoff, we touched on a possibility of the price coming down to a sign of weakness still remains high. So the previous 3 weeks showed us another peak, so that's why I'm dragging the tag over here. The chance of it coming back to above the blue key level of $3.05, to challenge the 3.38 is lower than that of the downward momentum towards the sign of weakness. Reason being, it still isn't able to break outside of this downward channel yet. So I talk about this triangle over here. When we get to the daily chart, I'll talk about this in detail, because here the date we're seeing in the weekly chart is not as close to the one that we see in the daily chart. So as of now, these potential next stages is still coming. This bounce this week we're having as of this moment may well be just another LPSY, last point of supply, before we actually get to the sign of weakness that will land somewhere around 2.05, the yellow key level. If you look back to the history of Solana, well, obviously there were multiple LPSYs. However, the cycles before, we also see some kind of pretty horizontal movements for LPSYs for Ripple. So there were multiple occasions, not like some other altcoins where you see consecutive lower and lower LPSYs. So it's got some horizontal LPSYs and then dropped a bit, and then some other pretty horizontal or flat LPSYs. Alright, so let's get to the daily. What's going on here, or the similarity of it? If we look at these 3 LPSYs, okay, between the light blue key level and the blue key level, so that's 2.7 to 3.05, those 2 key levels. Okay, and now what we are going through over here. Okay, this time is between the yellow key level of 2.05 and the light blue key level of 2.7. So a wider range compared to what happened back in September. But it's, like I said, pretty flat horizontal trading with multiple LPSYs showing up. We are going through the 3rd one now. So if this is really repeating what happened in September, after this, I'm not guessing there would be another like big tariff announcement coming. That's a bit of an outlier. But then, you know, there is a dual ceiling at this point when we trade towards the date of November 20th or 21st. So you see this light blue key level 2.7, and also the ceiling of this downtrend or the air hockey table. So the tendency of the price actions is once it hits these lines, it tend to bounce off from those lines, unless it's going to break. There's sufficient good news to support it to break out. All right, let's take away this line. It's no longer needed. So potential breakout point is somewhere near December 22nd. Okay, if the price continues to trade sideways within this triangle. Let me enlarge this. If you're watching on a mobile, that would be easier. So here, now that the price has climbed back to this level, if it continues to successfully, trade above the 2.45 green key level, it will eventually reach to this point. But we're still 6 weeks away from that. It can break out sooner, but I'm mentioning this to you now so you kind of have an idea that this potential of breakout is coming. Back to the Wyckoff tags over here. There are two sets of colors. One, the red ones, which I already talked about the potential third LPSY is coming. And the PS, the preliminary support, may have not shown up yet. Last time it showed up or happened around the yellow key level of 2.05. That's why I'm parking the tag over here. This was back in late March this year, okay? The selling climax subsequently showed up in early April. That's why I've got this tag parked over here as well, near the orange key level of around $1.80. Okay, that's where the selling climax was around. Not that it hasn't dropped deeper, very close to the red key level of 1.55. It stopped somewhere around 1.6. Also back in March, April time. Okay, that's first scenario. Second scenario is that this time the selling climax happened already on Tuesday, just the past Tuesday. That's why this selling climax, XSC over here. And the previous period of horizontal trading was the preliminary support stage. Okay? Or even this now. Just, last Sunday, Monday. This, what we're going through over the past 2 days, including today, is an automatic rally in terms of the yellow scenario. Okay, this, I won't say 70% anymore because it has dropped to that point already. Previously, we were discussing, the potential of it getting towards the yellow key level is higher at around 70%. That's why we've got that over there, and it has already happened. So, time to put that 70% to somewhere else. Here, whether it's an automatic rally or is it an LPSY, my own thinking is more inclined towards the red scenario. Okay, we haven't seen the actual preliminary support yet, and also the selling climax. Okay, so the tendency of it coming down, maybe for a second test or the selling climax, it doesn't matter. So somewhere between the orange key level and the yellow key level, 1.8 and 2.05. That's where the 70% goes to. The remaining 30 still up over here. So this aligns to what we talk about in the weekly chart, where we are expecting to see a sign of weakness somewhere between the orange and the yellow key level. It's very similar to what happened back in April, June this year. Okay, I'm seeing some shades over here, so probably I haven't make it transparent, so now it looks sharper to you. Okay, so this downward channel is still constraining where the price can go. The chance for it to break outside this box remains, from now till somewhere mid-late December. If this, however, climbs higher, go over the 2.7 key level in just the next 2-3 days, it may be able to break out by the end of next Friday. Okay, but that's not easy given the two previous LPSYs were both rejected from this 2.7 key level. All right, so that's all for Ripple for now. Thank you for joining me, and thanks for all the support. I've been receiving a lot of comments and support and also suggestions. So even though I've made 2 changes to the live sessions roster in the past 8-9 days, I think I'm going to have to make a 3rd change. So bear with me with all those community posts that I've been sharing about the changes to the roster. Hey, let's get it done. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining me. Have a good day, and depending on where you are, if you're in Asia, have a good night.